Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through my vintage Penguin main series titles for numbers 2601 up to 2800. So these are from the 1966 to early 1968 period. A lot of classic designers here and some great covers to take a look at. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay, so we start off with this one, which is the Penguin Guide to Bargain Records, but it's not actually the sort of record you might be thinking of. This is a guide to classical records. This is Penguin number 2608. It's from 1966. Got a little insert there, which is a directory of the different labels and their prefixes for mono and stereo releases. Yeah, probably quite an obscure one, this, and I guess it was possibly valuable at the time if you're into your records back then. Next we got this one, Is Paris Burning? Now a great Paramount film, Larry Collins. Just got a picture jacket there, and it says the front cover, so Jean-Paul Belmondo, Charles Boyer, Leslie Cairn. I see Kirk Douglas is in that, Glenn Ford and Gert Frobe, so a few recognisable names, but I don't think I've ever seen Is Paris Burning. Wildcat Falling, Colin Johnson. The frightening story of a part Aboriginal Australian trying to cope with a hostile society by a man who lived in it. 2610. Cover photograph Angove Barnaby's. Interesting. Not a particularly long book, that one. This one's saying first published 65, so maybe there's a little bit of 65/66 in these earlier ones. I haven't by any means got them all. I've got lots and lots of gaps in this run of 200 books. That's why I'm showing 200 at a time. So, you know, there'll be lots missing, but, you know, it's an area that I am slowly but surely getting a few more of. Penguin New Writers, Clive Barry, The Spear Grinner. Cover design, Bob Smithers. And on the whole, this sort of period of Penguin, I did try to resist picking up any that were too low grade. I tried to be quite fussy with my condition. There's a few in here that are from my earlier days of collecting, which perhaps aren't quite as good as I would like. But on the whole, most of these are really nice copies. Ballard, Malamud, The Assistant. Strange and powerful novel by the author of The Fixer. Cover photograph, Feininger. It's a nice one. W.H. Canaway, The Hunter and the Horns. This one's been laminated. Cover illustrator Charles Raymond. It's really nice that they do credit the cover illustrators. At this point, Penguin were under the editorial leadership of a chap called Tony Godwin, who took over from Anne and Lane, and because of that, the art style and just the general look of the Penguins changed quite a bit over the next few years. Here's a nice Ed McBain, an 87th Precinct novel. Axe, bit of a departure from the earlier ones, cover design wise. Tony Palladino was the cover photographer there. Big fan of the Ed McBain books. And one of many Simenons that Penguin published, of course. This is a May Gray and the Saturday Caller. These have all got new translations by Penguin, which came out over the last sort of 8 or 9 years. This is a good one, Franz Kafka's America, real classic. And you will start to see the introduction of the Penguin logo be much, much more pronounced and bigger on the front cover to sort of remind people that even though they're moving to more illustrated or photograph covers, these were still very definitely traditional Penguin books, so it was like a bit of a sign of quality. Cover design by Herb Lubelan Inc. Good stuff. W. Somerset Maugham, A Writer's Notebook, but that's probably a good read. Penguin 2644. Now, The Forsyth Saga was a big hit on the BBC, and Penguin pretty much published the whole lot with these photographs from the TV show. So a lot of them came out during this run, and we'll see quite a few this time round. Cover shows Neree Dawn Porter as Irene. There you go. Can't say I've ever sat down and watched the Forsyth Saga, but apparently it was a classic in its day. Konstantin Stanislavski, an actor prepares. Okay. 1967, this one says, published by Penguin. So these are all in numerical order, Penguin series order, but I do think some of them jumped around and weren't quite published, chronologically, as it were. The Pink and the Brown, Hugh Atkinson. Nice cover on that one. Roger Wood. Philip Magnus, King Edward VII, the most Edwardian of them all. And this is a really nice one. It's probably been unread. It's got the NF for non-fiction. Cover design Michael Rand. So, as I said, on the whole, when this sort of period of Penguin books came my way, I was quite strict, and I only wanted really sort of nice copies on the whole. It's not always possible, of course. I take what I get, but in certain circumstances, because these are sort of the tail end of the collection, I was sort of really only trying to get as good a condition copies as possible. This is one I had before I really even collected Penguins, because I'm a real fan of Harry Harrison, and this is one of their science fiction ones, Make Room, Make Room. It is quite scarce, I believe, and I'd like to get a better copy of this one. Cover design by the famous Alan Aldridge, who I'm a real sort of fan of. He did these sort of psychedelic-y sort of design covers, which I really love. Another movie tie-in here, The Russians Are Coming. All Out War, All Out Farce. Cover shows Carl Reiner, Eva Marie, Saint, Alan Arkin. Once again, not a film I've seen. This is a nice one, $1 Billion Brain, Len Deighton. Thought I had a better copy of that. Actually, I see it's got a little bit of writing on the front, because I've probably had the opportunity to get this one dozens of times, but because I knew I had it, I didn't really bother picking another one up. But it's pretty funky inside. Very much of its era, and yeah, good stuff. And Deighton, of course, used to work for Penguin back in the day. He was one of their in-house designers. Brother Malamud again, A New Life. So we saw his other one just earlier, didn't we, with The Fixer. Somerset Maugham. Theatre. Very 60s, that one, isn't it? A great design, though. Really great design. Another John Galsworthy. This is Forsyth number 4, The White Monkey. Really easy to find these. They sold loads of them. And that's Eric Porter. Obviously made to look a lot older than he actually was at the time. He went on to famously be Moriarty against Jeremy Brett's Sherlock Holmes in the Granada Sherlock Holmes. Forsyth Saga Part 5, The Silver Spoon. And that is Susan Hampshire as Fleur. That's Forsyth Part 5. And another one, Forsyth Part 6. Martin Jarvis, yeah. And Susan Hampshire. Look at that, Martin Jarvis. Look how young he is. Excellent stuff. And then we've got a crime. Another Simenon, The Door. Very bold, bright 60s design on these. Wendy Coates Smith did design that cover. And the good thing about the Simenons is they're a one-sitting read. You could go through the entire story and have a proper adventure literally in one sitting. This is a minor classic, The Snow Goose. A Small Miracle. Snow Goose is the real classic, Paul Gallico. Justin Todd did the illustrations. Very nice. Indeed, nice one to have. H.R.F Keating, this is 2683, The Perfect Murder. Dennis Rolfe did the photo cover. Yet another movie tie-in, Cool Hand Luke. Not the greatest of movie tie-ins, you have to say. It's pretty awful, just the feet there, working on the chain gang. There's Paul Newman on the back. Yeah, not one of Penguin's best, but even so. Now, one of Penguin's most boring, the Penguin Science Survey for 1967. The only people who would ever have a copy of this in their library would be people like me who collect a publisher's entire output rather than for the actual content of the books. Carson McCullers, Reflections in a Golden Eye. Another one that became a movie, of course, The Graduate, Charles Webb. Yeah, it does say now a major film presentation, but it's not a specific movie tie-in. No sign of Dustin Hoffman there. Another early SF in this library. Keith Laumer, A Plague of Demons. Another one by Alan Aldridge. And we can only imagine what he was on at this point in the 1960s, but you can recognise that style of artwork from like the Yellow Submarine style. It's very, very sort of psychedelic. And then William Haggard here, 2703, The Antagonists. It's quite interesting, have the brain sort of wrapped in a flag. Tony Evans, a crime title. Good stuff. John Wayne, 2711, not the John Wayne, of course. Strike the Father Dead. This is interesting. So this is a movie tie-in again. Alan Bates as The Fixer. John Frankenheimer. But it's in a dust wrapper. So there's not many that have that, but there was the original edition of it. And then it's got a die-cut cover with him behind bars by the look of it. And the Pulitzer Prize, it says, in 1967. But, as was not uncommon, I suppose, I've seen it before, when a movie came out, the book just got rejacketed and they put the movie jacket on instead, just to cover up the original cover, just so it's a bit more perhaps recognisable, possibly tied into some advertising at that time. But nice to have that one in a dust wrapper. And here's another one, like two on the trot, which have got die-cut covers. This is London Dossier, Len Deighton, with the keyhole cover there. Very nice, very funky, very 60s. This one, 1967. I would imagine probably quite difficult to find with a really perfect keyhole cover. 7 and 6, that was expensive at the time, wasn't it? Edna O'Brien, quite a famous Penguin author. August is a wicked month, it certainly is. It's very hot usually. I remember seeing an interview with Edna O'Brien, and it was about Penguin books, and she said she didn't really feel she'd made it as an author until she saw her first Penguin paperback. Science fiction, again, Eric Frank Russell, Somewhere a Voice. Good stuff. Jean-Paul Sartre, Words. Now this one's also been laminated. I bought a few from Drew the Penguin chap, and they were nice. They were this sort of period of Penguin book, but they had been, a lot of them had been laminated. So, but I didn't mind, because sometimes lamination, it just keeps the book's beautiful condition. That's what's happened with these. John Barth, Giles Goat Boy. Look at the size of this, it's massive. But once again, it's in excellent condition. It's never been read. Or if it has, it's been read very gently or carefully. Another Ed McBain. It's not one of his 87th Precinct titles. It's The Centuries. Once again, a bit of a bizarre cover, that one. I don't think it does it any justice, in all honesty. Monica Dickens, Cobbler's Dream. Okay. George Mike's How to Unite Nations. He did quite a bit for Penguin. Now this next one is in B format, so it's the larger format. It's Polish writing today. So it's ever so slightly bigger than the regular ones. Cover design John Sewell. They did a few in this series. I've got a handful. I think they're really nice. I'm not exactly sure how many there are, but they're quite nice to have. Here's probably my favourite book that we're going to see today. It's Ballard's The Drought. Nice early JG. Unbroken Spine. It's not mint by any means, but it's a nice copy of this. This is all the early Ballards in Penguin first edition are quite scarce. This is 1968. This is a first in a Penguin. And great author, one of my favourites. Gascoigne. Another very 60s cover, that, isn't it? Michael Trevithick did the cover design. Look at that. That's good, isn't it? Nice jacket. Another one in B format, The Knotted Snark. Hunting of the Snark by Lewis Carroll. There we are, the original illustrations as well. Very nice indeed. That's why it was put into a B format. Gorgeous illustrations, aren't they? Very nice. Graham Greene, his first novel in 5 years. A blazing bestseller set in tropical, tyrannical Haiti, the comedians. At this point, Graham Greene was sort of winding down his career, wasn't he? Games People Play. God, that 60s design, it's brilliant, isn't it? 2768, this is. What great design there. Doesn't actually say who the designer was, probably just somebody in-house, in all honesty. Another one from Bernard Malamud, The Natural. So we've seen 3 of his, so obviously Penguin had got the rights, and over these couple of years they were publishing them all, and for some reason I've ended up with copies of all of them in my collection. Here's another one, Forsyth Saga number 7, Made in Waiting. Susan Hampshire's Fleur again. Oh, here we are, number 8. Flowering Wilderness. Peter Copley as Reverend Charwell. He's a familiar actor, isn't he? He's been in lots of things. A British character actor, that is. And I think the last one of these. Over the River. Can we recognise that actor? Number 9. Robin Phillips as Wilfred Desert. Okay, 2788, Dead Corpse, Mary Kelly. That's a nice cover. Lou Klein did that jacket. It's lovely, isn't it? Nice jacket on that one. The Price of Diamonds, another laminated one. Dan Jacobson. Barry Brenner was the cover designer. Dan Jacobson, The Beginners. 2794. Barry Brenner again. Really nice unread copy of that one. And a couple more crimes here. We got Stanley Ellen, The Specialty of the House and Other Stories. It's a very distinctive style. Michael Trevithick. A Simenon, Maigret Sets a Trap. And the last one, Absolute corker, 2798. Honor Blackman's Book of Self-Defense. Of course, Honor Blackman was in the Avengers at the time with Patrick Macnee. So she had a bit of a reputation as a hard woman. Of course, she was Pussy Galore in Goldfinger. So, great stuff. That's a good book, that one. Excellent. So there you are. Hope you enjoyed looking through that little batch, that segment of 200 vintage Penguin books from 1967 to 1968. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it the thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage Penguin content, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.